We got a heavy rain last night, and this morning, I'm not sure how heavy, but see if I can find how much it was. You notice these top swales are pretty much, they have a lot less water in them than that bottom one. And that bottom one's catching all the runoff that's coming out in between these two from the hillside up there to the right. And these are full. And that water is muddy. Once we get some perennial plants in here, it should be clear. A lot clearer than that. I don't want to walk up on the top of this too much to avoid stamping out these little seeds that are just sprouting. And here we are one day later. It continued to rain last night, so we've probably got close to 2 inches of rain in 2 days, which is a lot. And these are completely full. Notice right here, it starts to slope uphill. I did that on purpose, trying to kind of slope it away from my neighbors. I don't think they would appreciate having a swamp pouring into their yard, so that's why it's not completely uniform. But you'll notice it is really, really full here. It's all the way up to the top. And in the middle there, I bet it's somewhere, up to my belly button or chest. It's probably 4 feet deep. It's holding, which is good. We've talked about the shape of these, and it's happy to see that it's holding, but I wouldn't want to see any more rain. Yeah, and that lower one is also completely full. That's probably close to 5 or 6 feet there on the right hand side. But a lot of water captured. A lot of water. I was worrying about this last night as I was sleeping, listening to the rain, hoping it would stop, because until we really get roots established in there, both grass and trees, I'm still a little uncertain. And in these higher ones, you'll notice there's not a whole lot. Not a whole lot. Everything beyond the road, and the road's just 30, 40 feet up there. flows out the culvert, and the culvert splits those two swales right there. So that bottom one is capturing all of the water from up above, and I'd like to have these captures more water as well, but I'll leave it as is. Pretty cool, and you'll see that site level did a pretty good job of laying it out level, especially that bottom one. It's uniformly, that's perfectly laid out. The water is uniformly at the same place across the whole bank. Here's the bottom swale from close up. I don't know how much water that is, but yeah, it's a lot. I was noticing yesterday some seepage on the, I don't know if that's what it's called, we'll say seepage on the backside of these swales. And that might mean erosion in the future. I don't see. Let's see if I can find some. So water's actually trickling out here on the backside of this swale, this bottom one. That's kind of a good thing, because if that would be built up higher, I don't know where it would overflow. This isn't a bad place for it to overflow, at least it's not gushing directly over. But in these spots, I think I want to line it with rock and stone there. That way I don't have erosion problems coming through here. I've seen that a little bit in the other field. And there's the creek right there, so it's running out into the creek. Here's a spot where there's water accumulating on the backside of this swale. That's kind of what I meant by seepage. And these berms are so wide though. These are 10, 15 feet wide, that I don't know that if I should be concerned about this washing out. But that's also a lot of water, and that's a lot of weight that they're holding. I think I mentioned it before, but when I built these swales, I compacted it with the excavator bucket like a fist. I would dump the soil and then pack it and scrape that to compact it. And if this was even a bit wider, if I'd made these even bigger, you'd want to drive the excavator over across your swales, across your berms to really compact it. Sepp Holzer is a guy to read or look into if you're interested in doing this at a big scale. There's a fine line between this and a pond, and he's made ponds and lakes on contour like this, big, long, thin contour ponds in Switzerland, way up high in the mountains. See, here's water here behind this swale as well, standing water. And I don't know that it's necessarily seeping out here. I don't see any running water on the backside of this swale. But there's standing water here. This is what I mean by seepage or percolation, I guess, through the swale. You can see that water is flowing through the swale and there's holes there. Think of them like capillaries. And you also notice that it's slightly eroded there. And this is an area where I planted native perennials, wildflowers, and slow to establish stuff. And there's still quite a bit of exposed soil there. So that's the problem there, I think. Is, yeah, it's also, what is that, 3 feet wide? And across the other one on the other side of the creek is 5 times as wide as that, but it's also holding 5 times or probably more weight than this one is. And another spot where the water's percolating through the swale and out the backside. And once again, this is the other spot where I tried to plant perennial wildflowers on it instead of rye. Well, there's rye on top there, but on the backside there isn't. So I think ryegrass is definitely a good idea on the backside of your swales. It's the cheapest stuff you're gonna find. You know, it's $2 a pound. And native grasses will cost you more, like $8 a pound. Wildflowers, you're talking $8 just for a couple ounces. And then on top you could do wildflowers and perennials. And maybe rye's not the only quick establisher. Maybe you could do other pasture grasses like oats or timothy or I don't know, to be honest.